18 months, and we came up with 11 recommendations as to what is holding this gap steady in North Carolina. Now, there were 11 recommendations. I'm just going to summarize for you real quickly 5 of them. Here's what they said. They said in this state, General, we have too many minority children and poor children in special education classes that don't belong there. That was the very first recommendation. As we went across the country talking about this, our folks were calling us up, saying, we understand y'all got some recommendations. We went and we talked to folks across the country. And here's what they said to us. They said, you know what? Y'all look pretty bold in North Carolina. Because in our state, we wouldn't dare be able to say that we got too many black children and poor children in special ed. It's the truth. The second recommendation went something like this. In this state, we have too few minority children and poor children in advanced classes. They even said stuff like this, General and Donna. Y'all know it. They say that even in the classes where they are, they could be taught more rigorously, but they aren't. Right. A fourth recommendation was like this. This is recommendation number 4. Here's what they said. They said in this state, we don't have enough parental engagement. They say schools in North Carolina aren't friendly places to certain parents. And we need to be looking at the image of the school so that parents feel comfortable going to the schoolhouses. There was a fifth recommendation went like this. They said something like this. They said, in this state, we need to make sure that our educators have the knowledge, skills, but it didn't stop there. Because here's what they knew. They knew that many educators have lots of head knowledge. They know their content. They even have the pedagogy. They know how to teach it, Donna. But here's the third thing that they said. They said, in this state, our educators need to have the knowledge, skills, and disposition to teach diverse learners to be successful. Now, what does that disposition mean? What that means is teachers and principals and superintendents have to have the belief that poor children and minority children can learn that stuff that they're teaching. Because if I don't believe my students can learn it, I'm going to teach it in such a way that they get the idea that they don't think I can learn this stuff, and they don't. Here's a recommendation that Bob Bridges kind of created, and we endorsed it. Here's what he said. He said, in North Carolina, we need to study the way African American children and American Indian children were educated before integration. He said in those all-black schools, there were some powerful things happening, some good things happening. But after integration, we closed the doors to those schools, we kicked them to the curb, and we acted as if nothing good happened in them. I, for one, graduated from an all-black school, Keith. You know it. Keith and I from down the same area, down Pine Top area. We proud of that, Dr. Keith. Say it loud. We studied those all-black schools. We did research on it. We did all the research that we needed to do at DPI to study those all-black schools. And here's what we found. And in the midst now of how we assign students, this information is important. Here's what we found. We found that in all black schools, there were majorly 4 characteristics. Characteristic number 1. Those schools had very strong principals. Ask Dudley Flood, he's here. He knows it. They have very strong principals. You can't be assigning weak principals to schools and think that you can improve achievement. Those schools had another Brother Connolly. They were good at what they did. They knew their content. They knew how to teach. Strong, effective teachers. The research even tells us this, that before integration, there were like A certificates and B certificates. Black teachers had A certificates at a higher rate than white teachers. So they were very well prepared. But here's the other thing connected to that. In those schools with those really good, effective teachers, they had something that we call strong curriculum. They didn't sort and select students as much as we do now. They challenged us. How many times did I hear, Marvin Pittman, you are not always going to live in Edgecombe County. One day, some teacher said, here's what she said. She said, one day, you might even live in Raleigh. The curriculum was strong. They didn't let us take those weak, watered-down courses in them easy A's. And we got too many minority children now. The reason we got this gap, ladies and gentlemen, is across this state, they are in these weak, watered-down classes, learning nothing. Now here's the other thing. In those schools, they had something called, here's what it was called, academic extracurricular activities. Debate, math club, science club, public speaking. They had stuff other than athletics. They had the arts programs. And we were in those programs. How do you think I learned how to stand before folk and speak? It was because I was in the 4-H club down in Edgecombe County, running across the state, making speeches to folks. In today's schools, ladies and gentlemen, let nobody fool you. Black children and poor children are not in the academic extracurricular activities. They're in athletics. I have no fault with athletics, Joe. But if a principal, and I wish this school system would do this, if you look at your extracurricular activities, chart it out, and see what your students look like who are engaged in these activities, it's going to blow you away. Once we get blown away, it ain't good to just be blown away. Then what you have to do is to make sure that poor children and minority children are in those extracurricular activities that are what?
Academic.
Academic.